Greetings, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great today. This is Zyron, aka Axis0096, and we are fixing to cover the Chairman's letter and Star Citizen updates for the week of 3/14/2024. And where is... It's not roadmap. Where is it? First, we need to go to letter from Chairman, Squadron 42. Let's do the commercials first, and then just a second, chat. He's pretty slow today. Did I do master modes? No, I didn't. I have a lot of stuff I need to cover today, unfortunately. And then I'm going to do some actual stuff. Yeah. It's just one of those days. Yeah. It's weird. Okay. That's weird. All right. So first, we're going to do this. Because it is St. Patrick's Day, and it's funny, and it's...
Never let me dock at that. And needless to say, they never let me dock at that station again.
Kid, that story gets worse every time you tell it.
Look what the cat tried.
I will say this is some funny stuff for Star Citizen.
Only about 1,000 times. But if you want to talk about danger, what about the time I hit the gap at Yada?
Oh, that's nothing.
You kids wouldn't know real danger if it shot you between the eyes.
You guys already forgot about the pyro incident? I cleaned up on that job.
Yeah. You both got lucky.
Maybe, but what about you, old-timer? You feeling lucky right now?
Luck's got nothing to do with it.
Guess we'll see.
Yeehaw.
Now what? I know I haven't covered a couple of things this week. Let's see. The Master Modes thing is pretty deep. I could save that for last. I'm basically recapping a bunch of stuff this week. But I also need to do... You know what? I'm going to do the Avatar repertoire thing first. And then we're going to do the letter from the Chairman, which I've heard is very, very interesting. So this first, and then letter from Chairman.
One of the most anticipated aspects of the upcoming Alpha 323 has to be the persistent universe arrival of our new character customizer, enabling better representation and a true sense of ownership over your individual avatar in the verse. And to share with you the various ins and outs of what's ahead, let's throw it now to just a few folks standing in front of the massive team that made all of this possible.
The reality of the old character creator is that the old character creator could walk so that this one could run.
The original mandate was, let's just get the PU customizer working in Squadron with building blocks instead of Flash.
It was very bare bones. We hadn't had a lot of progress on it.
We had no design, we had no designer, or anyone else working on the project except me.
Basically, the task was make it look pretty.
The very, very first underpinnings of the character creator actually still exist. It's our DNA system.
In the old one, you could only blend between the different faces. Also, you could only blend from one face to another at a time.
The character customizer for Star Citizen is so important because players get ownership over their character. They're not just representing some player character that some artist has created, but they're representing themselves. We want the player to be able to represent themselves in the world and the universe that is Star Citizen.
So the character customizer that's coming into Star Citizen in 3.23 is broken down into 4 main sections.
The first section of the character creator is the DNA system, and that's where the player actually interacts with the blending and the shape of the actual head itself.
It's still the same DNA system in terms of when we apply it to the characters. The difference is how we interact with that DNA system. So we've introduced face sculpting.
This is the big thing. So you can just grab these nodes on the face of the character that you have and shape it as you see fit.
What face sculpting allows us to do is, instead of saying, I want a certain proportion of a certain head, it allows us to say, I want to pull this vertex to this position, and then we can work out what proportions of different heads is required to get that vertex into that position.
The system is very, very cool, as behind the scenes, we can't just adjust the face into certain shapes and be happy with it. We have to also change the rig. We also have to change the corrective blend shapes.
But we've also kept the original DNA blending as well, but we've tried to improve the user experience of that as much as possible.
Now you have a full list of heads at your disposal, so you can see all the heads available, and you can tweak, you can take a bit of the nose from that face, you can take the eyes from that face.
Finally!
It's
So much needed improvements.
It's very modern, sleek looking look. We're trying to go for like the almost like the Apple Vision Pro look. But yeah, it's very modern compared to your Squadron, and it's a lot more in date, I guess you could say.
Basically trying to reduce the number of mouse clicks it takes to get what you're looking for.
So some of the other things that you can do in the DNA section is the skin tone adjustment, as well as the skin material or the skin texture itself. So what you can do within this is you can actually skin tone adjust this into realistic shades of certain skin tones to better represent yourself.
Your freckles, and we have some blemishes on there.
And these represent actual scans of people that we've done throughout the course of the years, and we've actually scanned a whole bunch more that we will be adding to the pool as time goes on.
But we are always making that pool larger, so the faces are always going to look better and better and have more variations in them. So the next big aspect is hair.
So within the hair section, there's
Hey,
a whole
it's
bunch
the
of new
Joker.
styles, which is obviously the first and most important thing. One of the interesting things, and the teams I represent worked really, really hard on this to have some hair simulation onto it. So you can see the hair move around as you're even selecting it, and then as you add it onto the character, you can see it move around even more.
But better than that, you now also have a massive library of beards and facial hair and eyebrows as well. So you can mix and match to get exactly what you're after. Instead of what we had before, where you could cycle through hairs, you could cycle through hair colors. You now have a massive library of all the hairs.
Whereas in the previous character customizer, we just had a bunch of preset material variants. For the new character customizer, we want to give the player the power to go in and actually edit those materials.
What's even cooler about this now is, though we had the hair selections before, you could never tint it. You could never come up with your own color set.
We can go in and we can change the natural color of the hair. We can change the dye amount.
But we also have the new gradient system where you can choose to have one dye.
Is this what happened to the hex code system? Look at this. You can point and change everything. I don't think that they're going to do this to the paints for ships anymore, but we're going to see. Who knows? I don't think complex colors will make it on the hex code bit, but again, who knows, you know.
Dye color for the roots of your hair, another dye color for the tips of your hair, and then you can set where the gradient changes.
Not only do we have like a blonde hair, but then we have a purple highlight that's done at the end or done at the top, and that's all player configurable. So not only do you have a whole bunch of different hairstyles to choose from, but you've got the full color gamut as well.
And all of that is brand new functionality that we've added to a character customizer, so we can update the shader params on the hair in real time.
So my favorite aspect of the new facial hairstyles is the variety. We have a large library for being the first version of this, and it's going to grow even more within the coming years.
And as we've begun to include more culturally diverse hairstyles in 3.23, the team is working on more that will be seen in the patches to come.
So the third major aspect of the new character customizer is styling.
The makeup is another completely new feature for the new character customizer.
You'll be able to pick your makeup for eyes, your cheeks, and your lips.
We actually used to have makeup baked into the textures where we had already pre-selected eyeliners and all these kind of things to represent what that given skin tone was. But we wanted the player to make that choice. We wanted the player to have access to all the different gamuts of colors, all the different specular reactions, all the different highlights that they may want to do for their character.
For each of these, you will have some base versions that you can pick from, but you can also go in and tweak these on a deeper level. You can set the opacity, you can set different colors you can have one color for the eyeliner, one for the eyeshadow.
Like the hair, we can set certain colors and parameters on the makeup, so that's like how glossy it is and the opacity of the makeup. Unlike the hair, we actually set the shape of the makeup as well, and the way that we do that is we're basically adding new textures to the skin material on the players. And again, we update all of that in real time, and that is also quite similar to the new freckles and sunspots, how they work.
It's not my thing, but I'm glad to have such variety now that this project's moving along at such a good clip now. I mean, just look at this.
Again, another texture that we've added to the player character's skin, and then we can tweak these parameters on the shader in real time to show more or less freckles or more or less sunspots.
So when it comes to the different styles and what you can achieve in the character customizer, it's been a constant push and pull of making it look really good, really realistic, and letting people just do what they want. And we've been trying to keep it as realistic as possible, but still letting people do exactly what they want with it, because we're leaving so much power in the hands of the players. They can tweak all these different colors and all of their different, on their hair, their facial hair, their eyebrows, as well as these different makeup sections. And it can get pretty zany.
So the makeup itself is actually a fairly complex feature behind the hood, but in the end, I think it actually presents as a pretty fun interaction to changing up the skin tone and, again, representing yourself within the world of Star Citizen.
So the fourth main feature is all the additional functionality. We'll have a review page where you can see your character.
This is when you're actually taking a look at your character as a whole, from the toes all the way to the top of the head.
Another part of the core functionality of this is the randomization. So now we allow players to both randomize the whole thing, so you get a totally new look, so you get a good canvas to start off of.
Now, one of the really fun things about the character creator, and I didn't mention at CitizenCon and definitely should have, is that we do have the save and load functionality finally within the character creators.
So you'll be able to export your character onto your PC and find that file, send it to your friend, and they can import that into their game and see that character on on their machine.
So no longer will you have to worry about a reset or anything. You can save your character, you can reload it.
You can not only save your character to persistence and get it to load into a PU, but you can save a bunch of characters that you can then just load in at any time into the character customizer. And you can also send these to other players that they can then load in your custom-made characters as well. And this is the exact same tool that we're using internally at CIG to create NPCs that we're rolling out to all players in 3.23.
And I'd like to take this very rare opportunity to ask you guys and to challenge you guys to make a version of Jared and share it with the community and with us so that we can see how close you've
I think I can accept that challenge.
got. And if there's one I really like, maybe I'll do something pretty terrible with it.
What I'm really hoping to see is a hyper-realistic Chris Perry that someone could send to me for reasons. So that's what's coming in 3.23. But in the future, we'll also be adding tattoos, piercings, stubble, and more eye settings. So you're gonna be able to do even more customization at that point.
So this is a major milestone for Star Citizen because finally the presentation is exactly at a state that we wanted. So many different teams have been involved in this, from lighting to environments to feature teams to tech art to tech animation to animation programming. Everyone has seen this, has been involved in this, and it's gone all the way up through the chain, through to executive approval. So it's finally to a state where Chris has actually been happy with it and that we could release it to the community.
Really happy. We put a lot of time and effort into getting it to where we want it to be today, so it's come a long way. Particularly happy with like how it's just easy to use and you can basically go from like scratch and just completely start from a clean slate and just create whatever you want, really.
You're gonna be able to express yourself with your characters so much more than before. And you're gonna be able to see everyone in the verse really being themselves or whoever they want to be out there. I think that we have made one of the strongest character customizers that's out there at this point, and we are very proud of this.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the character customizer in Alpha 3.23 is dope as that it's the next major milestone in our continuing efforts to enable better representation and customization of your player avatars in the verse. And that even more options, things like tattoos, scarrings, and even more, are on their way after that. And, of course, if you don't want to spend time creating your avatar, you can just hit the little randomize button down there and see what you get. Random, 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 random. Oh.
Hi, I'm David. I have to read the teleprompter. I'm the producer for ISC. I make it possible for Jared to do stupid things like this. And I'm British. That's it, just British. I say things like peanut butter, water, and rubbish. And I'm always explaining to others why Jared did things like this. And I'm good at my job. Aw. But my job is being British. Teleprompter. What's that line? What was that?
We like to have fun. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Okay, that whole section just a moment ago could be a freaking meme by itself. I'm sorry, but yeah. Oh, jeez. Poor Jared.
All right, so are we recording?
Yeah, we're all in.
All right. So normally at the end of the show here, we would have a meme image. It's funny. David, do we have anything this week?
We don't have one thing we're not allowed to show.
Oh, the one thing we're not allowed to show you. Well, I mean, who wants to live forever? Hold on. Okay, here we go. There's a log bit of. Can you see this? No, this way. This way. Wow. Yeah. What sounds do the birds make? Clearly, never heard what a bird sounds like before in our lives.
that better? Is that what you wanted?
Terrible. Guys, you need help. Like professional help. Seriously. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna now switch from this and we're gonna go to what should I do next, chat? Let me see here. Squadron 42 report, which I hope is short as hell. Let's see. Yeah, let's handle that last. Yeah. Squadron 42 report will be last. Let's listen to the chairman, which was about an hour ago. Oh my, this one's long. Yeah, this is long. Now, this is from Chris Roberts, so this should be interesting. What we do now echoes in eternity. Marcus Aurelius. 2023 marked the beginning of a transformative... Hey, Red Stranger. 2023 began the beginning of a transformative chapter for Clan Imperium and both our games. With 318, our first release of 2023, the team delivered PES, the foundational tech that is necessary for server meshing. You actually came in at a great time, Red. I don't know if you've played Star Citizen in a while, but oh my goodness, there's been a lot of changes. So many that I've lost track, man. Okay, as mentioned in the last letter, PES is the hardest part of the system needed for server meshing. It is the one that required... Oh, you heard from Squirrel. Good, good, good. You came at the perfect time then. It is the one that required the most engineering, so overcoming the challenges with this release last year was mission critical. Meaning, make it or break it, Red. The launch of 318 was far more challenging than we anticipated, and we discovered some issues with our backend database that were only visible at the scale we could see. You came to me for clear explanation. Visible at the scale we see on a live release as opposed to the PU. So they needed actual data to see what was going on. Outside of this, we uncovered a lot of little issues that come from a truly persistent universe. While it is amazing to come across a wreck from a player combat a week ago, it's not so fun to try and land a hangar with the last 3 ships crash and left debris lying around. Blocking your landing pad. We slowly worked through these issues and others, but it was a challenging time both for the dev team and the community. Yep, it was. These obstacles not only tested our skills and determination, but demonstrated resilience as we overcame them. Beyond PES 323 welcomed long-awaited implementation of salvage, encompassing hull stripping, structural component, and repair, accompanied by relevant missions. Traders reap the benefits of an overhauled, no pun intended, and physicalized cargo system, while players across the board enjoyed many new missions spanning both PvE and PvP scenarios. You would understand when I say this, Red, that there's still work to be done, but a lot of foundational work has been done. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. They still have quite a ways to go, but like most things, they've come very far this last year. Yeah. Basically, it's basically been a year in transition. Anyways, Our developmental journey reached a series of significant milestones last year, all of which took center stage at SitCon 2953. The magnitude of this event for everyone at CIG cannot be overstated, especially considering it marked our first live CitizenCon in over 4 years. So, that would have been 2019. They skipped 2020. No. 2018, okay? So 2018, they skipped 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. 2023 was their first one in 4 years, right? The magnitude of this event for everyone cannot be overstated. Okay, we've been powered by all your excitement since the very beginning of the journey, and we've missed the energy that comes from spending time sharing our mutual excitement about what we're building. The show was an incredible affirmation of all our hard work, both on Star Citizen and Squadron, and kicked off our best Q4 in terms of player logins and engagements. Thanks to all of you, and a huge wave in quarter 2023 was our best year ever, with record highs in daily active players, monthly active players, logins, unique, and hours played for the year. More than 1.1 million of you set foot in the PU last year. Now that's important. There are more than 10 million accounts, but still 1.1 unique players played in the PU last year. That's good. The other major milestone in 2023 was the welcoming the team at Turbulent fully into the CIG family. So they've been holding back for this big change. Yeah, I think it's been a build. Okay, to circle back, Red, they've kind of, PES was holding back a lot of stuff. You know, persistent entity streaming was putting the, like a brake on a car, basically on the development of the game, if that makes sense. Like the brake on a car, basically, yeah. It wasn't a positive, well, they had to slow down, but yeah, it's just, basically, if they could have gone faster, they would have. But yeah, it's... Hold on just a second. Oh. Yeah. I mean, they could have gone a lot quicker, but it didn't work out that way. The other major milestone was they were implementing another studio in. Turbulent has been responsible for large parts of their online infrastructure, and they've contributed greatly to their growth and success. This acquisition allowed them to streamline their efforts. They don't want to rush the game. Just make sure it gives greater impact. Yes, very well said. Very well. Astute saying, Red. You get it. Yes. They don't want to rush it like CD Projekt Red did initially, say with Cyberpunk 2077, which eventually turned out to be a great game. Don't misunderstand. It was a good game. But it could have been better from the beginning, in my opinion. Or I'll raise you one better. What was that game? No Man's Sky. Yes, it's cartoony, but after all the developments, they took that from a D- game to one of the best sci-fi Futurama-ish games in the world. It's very interesting what they've done to No Man's Sky over the last 10 years since Hello Games developed it. I've followed the development timeline of Hello Games is No Man's Sky. Instead of taking the failure square in the, instead of shrugging it off and denying it, they took it squarely and they decided to better the product, which I applaud. Gives us a significant presence in Montreal, which is a hotbed for video game talent. As part of this acquisition, we gained 2 senior executives. Benoit, the technical officer of Turbulent, who now serves as CTO of Cloud Imperium and the head of our core technology group. You already know Benoit from his presentations on his server meshing plans at the last 2 Citizen Cons. The second key executive is Mark Badu, who was the CEO of Turbulent and became our senior vice president studio operations, in charge of the operations welfare of the 1,000+ people working on Star System Squadron 42 spread across our 5 offices in Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, Manchester, Frankfurt, and now Montreal. As we look back on 2023 with the last few months now to reflect and appreciate the hard work on the team around me, I can see our experience at SitCon 2953 and the excitement from our community, both at the show and in the game, as they logged into SitCon in record numbers last year, left me feeling not only proud but deeply grateful and reinvigorated for the year ahead. So, yeah. And what a year it is shaping to be. Hold up. What do we got here? Okay, Red, here's some big announcements. On Squadron 42, that is taking the game from feature complete to content complete, ensuring the game has the necessary polish. It feels worthy of being the spiritual successor to Wing Commander. To this end, the team is hard at work, heads down, driving toward the finish line. I'm incredibly excited about how the game is shaping up, and we'll have more to share with you at this year's SitCon, which will be at Manchester. Yep, you called it, Red. They are working very hard to make sure it gives better impact. On the Star Citizen front, the teams are preparing to deliver server meshing, expanding the universe of Citizen to multiple star systems. One of the key milestones for human achievement in the lore of Star Citizen is First Jump Day, when legendary human astrophysicist and pilot Nick Croshaw discovered and navigated the first jump point on April 10th, 2271, and became the first human to visit a planetary system beyond Sol. Eventually, that system was named Croshaw in his honor. His journey was described as the jump that changed the course of humanity and led to the starfaring future we depict in Star Citizen and Squadron 42. You might wonder why I'm telling you this story. Well, a little ahead of the historic date of April 10th, we had our own. Yep, the silent before the crazy, exactly. That is well said. I agree. Very well said. Now, here's an important thing. An actual citizen completed a jump, Red. He did it. They have done it. A Star Citizen community member, not staff, but player, completed the jump from Stanton to Pyro. And we will now know his name. He completed it this weekend for this test of our progress. On server meshing and replication layer tech, we opened our first functioning jump gates and allowed players to test traveling between our 2 systems for the first time in our history. Players were able to jump between Pyro and Stanton via wormholes, with each system streaming in and out seamlessly. For those of you interested, our versus own Nick Croshaw honor goes to an Eva Cuddy member named Mr. Trash, who we believe was the first in the community to complete the successful jump. So I want to say to that individual, congratulations. Well done, Mr. Trash of Eva Cuddy. Well done. You did well. Thank you for paving the way for the rest of us. Continuing. During the test, it was worth noting that we also achieved 350 concurrent players in a single shard, i.e. IG, a replication layer with 2 connected servers, setting a new record for concurrent players in a single instance in Star Citizen. For everyone at home, Star Citizen servers up until now have been at only maybe around 100 players. So 350 players is quite a bit more people, more life in the verse, more, crowded, more interactions, more people. After many years of work toward a goal many thought was impossible, we are on the cusp of delivering one of the final pieces of tech that will enable a connected shared universe that thousands of people can experience together at the same time. So they stack game field to play on just to keep the service. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of different. I think that's combined with both systems, but it's a single instance, meaning it's like one setup of the two systems. So we'll see. Yeah. I invited Benoit, who oversaw this historic test as our new CTO, to share a few thoughts about this monumental milestone he helped bring to fruition. Oh, there are alien artifacts scattered through the verse if you know where to look. They're very, very small, but in some systems even there are alien ruins and such. Yeah. As the new CTO at Cloud Imperium, I am thrilled to join the CIG family and lead our technology team. We are dedicated to pushing boundaries, and I'm honored to represent and care for this team of pioneers and trailblazers. One of my first initiatives at CTO was establishing the Technology Preview Channel. It's a space where developers can fearlessly test large technology changes with players way before they go to live, fostering the spirit of open development with our community. I love that idea. In 2024, our server meshing journey is hitting its stride after years of dedication. We're closing in on the original vision we set out to achieve. Quite a bit, actually, Scarred. This journey started long ago with the introduction of streaming capabilities to Star Engine like OCS, SOX, PS. Yeah. I'm not even willy-nilly go through this. Basically, it's echoing what happened. But, yeah, it's... They already have gotten basically the first test of... Okay, we're talking about layouts where servers are dedicated to entire planets or moons, while others focus solely on landing zones or key locations, with plenty of higher player count experiments. So what they're doing is hardening the materials, I guess. As we set our sights on the year ahead, the team remains focused and committed to ushering the community into uncharted territories with the release of Pyro and Star Citizen Alpha 4.0. I cannot stress how much this is an inflection point. as it will allow many more people to play together, but also to seamlessly travel to different systems. All of this points toward 2024 being our biggest and best year in the universe of SC. But Alpha 4.0 is not our final destination, and with that, I have more exciting news to share. As we revealed at SitCon, with Squadron 42 achieving feature complete, we are now able to bring features developed for Squadron 42 to the persistent universe at an accelerated rate. As part of this, toward the end of the year last, we decided to reorg the SIT and Squadron teams to be more integrated to facilitate bringing several years' worth of feature work and polish to Star Citizen and finally set sail for Star Citizen's own finish line. While we recognize there is no definitive finish line in an online MMO, and that we will always be adding new features and content for many, many years to come, Star Citizen 1.0 is what we consider the features and content set to represent commercial success. That's curious. This means that the game is welcoming to new players, stable and polished, with enough content and gameplay to engage players continuously. In other words, it is no longer alpha or early access. Okay, this is different wordage, much like planned Squadron 42 drive to feature complete and the upcoming content complete status. We spent significant time looking at what 1.0 means and what it would take to get there. This is pretty long. To facilitate this, I'm pleased to announce that our very own Richard Tyre will be taking on a new role, overseeing the development of both alongside me. This change, you will start to see a more rapid expansion of features and content to see, starting with 323, which is shaping up to be one of the biggest releases to date in terms of new features getting into players' hands. When we announced at SitCon we were bringing across feature work which had developed and pushed feature complete for Squadron 42, we were not kidding. As Squadron 42 director, Rich provided a crucial role in helping steer it to its current feature complete status. Under his stewardship, it experienced a significant surge of progress. A momentum we fully anticipate to carry us toward content complete beta and release. Beta. This is the first mention I've seen of beta anywhere. Anywhere. Okay, folks? Okay. Firstly, I'd like this opportunity, blah, 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 releasing the 1.0 of the game. This begins with identifying what features and content are required to create a fully realized MMO, while laying the foundations for future updates. To be 100% clear, this doesn't mean going back to the drawing board or changing the vision of what SC really is. That's a good question, Red. I think they've said full terraforming is out of the question, but plant growth like farming and stuff is planned way down the road. From what I understand. With that aim, me and Chris have overseen the creation of a roadmap that will take us all the way to 1.0 and outlines all the features and contents we need, and just as crucially, the ones that will come post-release. With my role now overseeing both projects with Chris and the fact that Squadron has hit feature complete milestone, planetary colonization, is provided an opportunity to reshuffle the teams. You should see a large contingency. Yeah, we have to get there. Yeah. All feature teams come back to focus on Star Citizen, hopefully with nobody getting sick. We've also taken the opportunity to move away from heavily specialized teams like actor feature and vehicle feature to move more generic gameplay teams that should allow us to be a lot more flexible and shoulder some of those heavy burdens those teams used to carry. Well, in theory, guys, while these teams will still be instrumental in shaping 42, they will now be focused on bringing all the existing features over to SC, as well as working on brand new features, okay, like base building and crafting to help round out 1.0. What I'm curious about the crafting bit. We have bits and bobs of it already in Salvage, but I have a funny feeling there will be more to crafting in later updates down the road. We may not be able to make everything. I fully expect blueprints and shit. Possibly the same with base building, and I'm okay with that. Maybe things you have to hunt down and locate. I'm good with that, you know? While these teams will still be instrumental in shaping 42, they will now be focused on bringing all the existing features over to SC, as well as working on brand new feature. Okay, I already read that. With every release going forward, the intention is to move ourselves closer to that end goal. So you should expect to see large updates each quarter with many changes to systems that have not been touched in a long time, like economy, insurance, etc. Ooh, insurance. That's going to be fun. Alongside a whole suite of quality of life improvements to things like inventory, missions, mobiGlass, coupled with brand new features and content. Yeah, I think you're right, Scarred. I think the reason the economy, they're pricing things right now with the economy is because they're fixing to roll out the economy system. A lot of people better get really money grubby pretty soon because they're going to have to hold on to their money. We have really ambitious goals for ourselves. I hope not too ambitious, Richard, for ourselves internally, both for the game and technology teams. But Chris and I believe they are achievable, and hopefully you can start to see that progress starting with 323 and beyond. Okay, how much longer is this? Okay. Not long. Working in tandem with Rich and I will continue to establish the strategic vision to bring to life the intended Star Citizen gameplay experience. As Rich said, over the past few months, our teams have been busily planning the upcoming future major milestones for the PU, culminating in what we refer to as Star Citizen 1.0. As this roadmap comes together and becomes validated, we look forward to sharing with you both its vision and executional plan later this year. I want to die. As part of this development organization, we made some significant changes. From a personal standpoint, I've moved to Austin, Texas from Los Angeles to be closer in time zone to our main development operations in Manchester, Frankfurt, and Montreal. I'm spending significant time at our largest studio in Manchester with almost 600 staff. As I sit with Rich and the teams working toward completion of 42 and Star Citizen. As part of this, we made the difficult decision to ask the LA team, which has been increasingly providing support for the main development teams based in Manchester, to relocate to join other teams. Primarily Manchester, but also in Austin, Montreal, Los Angeles, while shrinking. Los Angeles, while shrinking, will still be an important office for the company, but one focused on a business support role with marketing, finance, legal, and HR. As part of this reorg, we sadly waved goodbye to the PU Live director, Todd Pappy, as he had to move back to the U.S. from the U.K. last year for family reasons. And after much soul searching, I determined that we cannot afford to have this role remote from the main team in Manchester for a good portion of the year. It is a sad moment as Todd worked diligently for the last 9 years on Star System, making important contributions and providing excellent leadership of his teams. I wish him the best of luck and look forward to seeing what he does next. That's where it really hurts in projects like this that take a long time. Due to family reasons, I completely understand. He had to move back to the United States, and that's his prerogative, you know? Todd Pappy, probably, if I remember straight, he has a young family. I don't know how young, but yeah. Todd has a prerogative to do what he needs to do, you know, and just it. That's just how it goes. I'm going to just say that about it. I will miss the sunny skies and beaches of LA. Where? But Star Citizen and Squadron 42 take precedence. The journey is longer and more difficult than I anticipated 11 and a half years ago. But the final destination is much more exciting and fulfilling. I would never in my dreams expected to have the opportunity to build something on the scale and ambition of Star System because it was incredibly blessed by all your support, and I'm determined to finish strong. In other words, he's bloodletting a little bit, but that's okay. I am looking forward. Okay, in the marathon, they said the last mile is the hardest, but to quote the Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, what we do now echoes in eternity. Well, we'll see, Chris. I am looking forward to you getting your hands on Alpha 323 as soon as possible, where you will be able to experience many features we have been hard to work on for the past couple of years, which will then lead to Invictus launch week in May. Okay, this is interesting. As a lead up to Invictus, we have prepared a series of missions to earn your UE CDF stripes and potentially earn an incredibly powerful and unprecedented in-game upgrade if you complete all of them. So are you ready to face Xenothreat in a more personal manner? Very interesting comment right here. So they're giving us a ship, probably locked to your account, or an upgrade instead of armor. I love it. Let us do this. The power of community. The driving force behind our network, our success is our extended team, each and every one of you. Together, we have built a community that not only plays a crucial role in our development, but also embodies our shared passion for the Star Citizen universe. It is you who have propelled us forward. Without your passion, without willingness to test, and undeterred by bugs and crashes, to be vocal with your thoughts, of course, stamina for the long and windy road, there would be no Star Citizen or CNG. You were there for the iconic helmet flip and the opening of the hangar doors for the first time in 0.8. We explored the vast expanse of the PU and Alpha 2.0. You were on board for the inaugural planetary landing in Alpha 3.0. And soon we will be leaving the Stanton system as we venture into the lawless wastelands of the Pyro system in 4.0, thanks to the server meshing. And beyond this, 1.0 twinkles on the horizon. The future has never been so bright, and I couldn't be happier taking this journey along with all of you. Yeah, the new Hornet, I've heard. Yeah. I don't think it'll be near as much for the Hornet, the Mark II, as the F8 Lightning. It shouldn't be. It's just cosmetic upgrade. Yeah, it's all good. You're all good. Yeah, I've heard it's the Hornet. I have no problem with it being a Hornet, and the new Hornet looks so much nicer. Okay. I've never really been a fan of the old Hornet. The old Hornet, to me, looks like a flying bunch of boxes. I mean, for some people, it's iconic. To me, it looks like, flying bag of boxes. But yeah, just a second. So, while we're on that subject, my nose. I do know 3 months ago. I do know there are at least 3 paints open in browser. These are, according to Pipeline, the 3 paints. Don't know if it's real. I'm not going to show pictures because I don't want to get banned. Yeah, it's 200 to 250. I don't think it's going to be near as much as the goofy, F8 Lightning. The F8 was, 200, I think, would be a good guess. Yeah, basically. Pretty much. Well, yeah, and 200 to 250 bucks isn't bad. Could be worse, but yeah. I guess we'll see. I mean, like most things, I think it'll be subject to change. We'll see, though. Before I forget, I meant to ask Scard, where do you live? Are you on the East Coast? Out of curiosity. I don't know. Delaying it too long could be prove risky because of, waning interest in the project. That's the problem. That's my worry, is that they would delay to the point of people, being like, yeah, we're not gonna. I'm not saying they would, but yeah. You live East Coast. Okay. Man, we must be really off. Because, let me see what's going on. Man, we must be really, really off. Yeah. Definitely interesting. Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, you got a good point. You got a good point. So they're going to probably keep Alpha 4.0. Here's my thought. They're going to keep 4.0 and then they're going to release. That's been the thought for a bit, that 4.0 will be the I've heard that too. Here's what I've heard. The 4.0 bit will be a couple of patches before 1.0 or so. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, it's basically that situation. Even though Squadron is polishing, they would have probably a 4.1, probably a 4.25, and a 4.5. More than likely. That would stretch it out probably into 2025, 2026. More than likely. Then again, we don't know how many people they're going to actually hire over the next year or two. Throwing people at it's not a good situation, honestly. But we'll see. Still don't think it's a great idea. So yeah, when I heard there was a letter from the chairman today, I had to update. I really did. I'm hoping next week we get some sort of roadmap update of some sort. That's okay, but we'll see. It'll be for March 20th, but we'll see. I'm kind of leery about thinking that it will be, but we'll see. Oh, I want to check something before I... By the way, before I forget, this is the Bar Citizen group that I run. I'm a moderator for it. This is one of the gift bags of goodies we had for showing up last month. Well, this month, about 6 days ago, you know. So looks like this. Yeah. That's exactly my worry. By the way, this right here, this was fun. Little late getting back from Tulsa, but it was fun. We had about 12 people show up for the middle of nowhere. Not too bad. We've actually had bigger Bar Citizens as well. So who all showed up for Austin? Yeah, that's my worry, Scarred, is, you know, anyway, sorry I'm just kind of dragging, but I will probably, let me see here. Hold on just a second, chat. A lot of stuff hinges on that. Yep, it does. Really does. I'm going to raid Burks on Twitch. He's also doing... Oh, really? Never mind. I'm going to raid Tom Beckhauser. I'm going to send you guys on your way. I got some stuff to do this afternoon. I will wish everyone a great day. I'll see you guys later tonight.